Hi, and thanks for joining Lesson 11 of this Mastering OEE course, where we take a look at OEE in different manufacturing settings. We'll first briefly discuss OEE benchmarks before showcasing a couple of different case studies depicting OEE in different manufacturing settings. So let's dig in. In reality, it's impossible for any process to reach 100% OEE, also known as perfect production. Here's a quick rundown of why. First, 100% availability is only possible if equipment is always running during the planned production time, meaning no delays in shifts, perfect availability of raw material, no stop causes, etc. Second, 100% performance would mean equipment is always running at the theoretical maximum speed known as ideal cycle time. And third, 100% quality is the same as achieving zero production of defective goods. Every single piece produced must be perfect. So what are some realistic numbers manufacturers strive for when optimizing OEE? Manufacturers typically aim for a range of 80 to 95% OEE, a score that is typically seen as excellent, but this can vary greatly depending on the industry. Typically, an OEE score of around 60% is seen as good, but has room for improvement. While it's important to strive for the highest possible OEE score, it's also crucial to consider realistic production capacity and avoid overestimating potential. With effectively 4 OEE metrics available in FactBird, which are TCU, OEE3, OEE2, and OEE1, we often get the question about which one is most important. So of course, the general answer is they're all important in their own way. But when using FactBird's solution, early on, we really want you to focus on OEE1 and OEE2. OEE1, for obvious reasons, in that loss during operation is very important to address. But OEE2 is an interesting one where most of the manufacturers using FactBird find that they gain a lot of benefit from by addressing. And that's usually surrounding changeovers and cleanings. So they'll usually have an SLA, 30 minutes for this changeover, 30 minutes for this cleaning. And they're just going by gut feeling usually that they are hitting that 30-minute mark. But what we find over and over again, regardless of industry, is that they're losing a lot of time in changeovers and cleanings. So with FactBird's solution, they end up getting a lot of time back by focusing on OEE2. So now we'll dive into an OEE case study with Broxburn bottlers. Broxburn is one of the top bottling providers in the UK, and they were struggling with unreliable downtime data and a lack of production insights. They decided to try FactBird in 2022, and it transformed how they track production and address issues in real time. They're a good example of how different roles in an organization benefit from OEE. For instance, the operations director saw a clear impact on one production line and its improvement from 65.8% efficiency to 77.8% efficiency in under a year using insights from FactBird. That's a huge step forward. The production team leader uses OEE daily to track stops, efficiency, and batch progress, making their work more streamlined and efficient. For the electrical engineer, OEE metrics showed exactly where systems and procedures needed improvement to boost machine performance. And for the line supervisor, real-time dashboards and analytics are invaluable. They rely on OEE to monitor progress hour by hour and bring insights to team discussions. As you can see, OEE delivers value across the organization, tailored to each role's priorities. Now, let's take a look at their interesting case study. It's a good lesson on finding microstops, the role of OEE in improvement, and of course, the charming Scottish accent. Enjoy.
Any surprises? Probably only good surprises. The system, although I said it was simplistic, the amount of data that it can generate is great. If you're a data junkie, you can spend a lot of time going through the finite detail and improvement information that it can supply to you. If you've got limited data, we just had the big issues that people remember. So if you've got a lot of micro stops where a lot of coworks were jamming, but that happened 40 or 50 times every couple of hours, you miss that data because people remember the big bang where a machine breaks, for example, and they don't get the bigger issues which accumulate over a day. So we're missing some of the bigger issues. We get carried out an EMIS audit every year. So we get an independent company, MCP, come in and they assess us for engineering and operator asset care. And we asked them for advice on a system that they had seen previously, and they highly recommended FactBird. Yeah, if you look at line 3 in 2022, we were sitting at an efficiency of 65.8. So after FactBird getting in and doing the improvements that the system helped us identify, we've got a 12% increase. So we're sitting at circa 77.8% year to date in 2023 up to the end of August. So it gives us a lot more knowledge and data to make informed decisions. When we first implemented it, we tried to explain to people the rationale for it coming in. It was going to help us make improvements and ultimately make their life easier. And they're starting to own the system and starting to use the system to their benefit. So it's involving them in the whole process and actually letting them see the benefits of the system by inputting the data and seeing the benefits coming out with improved efficiencies.
For me, obviously I'm in production, so for me it's fixing all the major problems in the bottling hall. Now, because we have that collection of data, we can look at a product, say, look, we run that the last time, we had these issues, we're now coming up to it, can we preempt and then look at solving the problem before it hits the line, so yeah. If there's any issues in the line, I can just have a quick look, tell them to jump somewhere else, so we're optimising our time, we're no wasting the time. The main one we have now is the ability to do root causes due to the information that FactBird's collating for us. So as Jonathan previously mentioned, line 3 we had a lot of issues with corks, so we had a lot of minor stops, maybe 40 or 50. In a general day we wouldn't capture that, but now we're capturing it and seeing, yep, we're losing an actual lot of time with that. So.
It allows us to see when we have machines and lines down. It allows us to see when they're planning to be down. So we're able to react with any problems that we have on the lines, whether it be a minor or a major issue. We also use the system for changeovers. So we move from one product to another. Sometimes they require engineering assistance, so we can see when they're coming up. And it helps us manage our time better, to be honest. Well, we have one line which is an engineering-led changeover, and predominantly would need to wait or be told when this was coming up to get a change. Now, due to the system, we can see with the percentage, by the time we get to 95%, we're all ready. We've got guys out and parts out. It's a faster change, less fight, less drag time on it.
On night and day, as before, we're a lot dealing how many cases per line we were doing, how many cases we were running through. So a lot of the time we're taking away from the line, dealing with that now. With Blackbird, that does a lot of the work from us. So on an hourly basis, I'll be down at the end of the line. I can capture that here within seconds. So it frees up time for myself, and again, that frees up times for the guys.
And sometimes before we start running order, I can find how was running the last time, 1 month ago, and I know what problems was, so I can fix the problem again before it's coming. That worked very, very good for me. I am very happy to work with that system today.
As you've seen, this is a great case study depicting the value of automatic tracking to capture microstops. Now, let's take a look at another case study, this time focused on Raimundo's in the US. Raimundo's are known for their ready-to-eat desserts. We visited their team in Bedford Park, Illinois, to learn how they leverage FactBird to achieve major cost savings and boost output. Roberto Marquez, plant manager, shared insights on tackling challenges with FactBird's manufacturing intelligence solutions. They had the typical problem of manual data collection leading to poor visibility into what was going on in production. Facing rising raw material costs, labor shortages, supply chain challenges, and increasing competition, Raimundo's recognized the need for Industry 4.0 solutions. By digitalizing their data collection with FactBird, they aimed to maximize the value of their equipment and stay ahead. So now let's take a look at their case study.
Previously to using FactBird, most of the data collection that we were doing was literally in the back of a napkin. Someone didn't keep that piece of paper, someone erased that whiteboard. All of a sudden, we didn't have any more information of what our previous losses were for the previous month, previous week. We couldn't strategically figure out solutions, and we couldn't really be able to work on continuous improvement ideas. So my name is Roberto Marquez. I am the plant manager at Raimundo's. I'm responsible for day-to-day operations, production, safety, quality. and maintenance. So today we've incorporated FactBird into our day-to-day processes. Now it's become an expectation for all of our employees that when we do have downtime, they're making sure that they're using the system to document what the loss was, and we can go actually to very specific into what kind of loss it was. Initially, when we started using the system, we were ranging anywhere from 60 to 65% OEE. Right now, we're averaging anywhere from 80 to 85%. So we've gone up about 20 points in OEE overall in all of our equipment. So, again, I'm a very strong believer in data. I'm a very strong, process and systems-oriented kind of manager. So for me, having that information and being able to use it effectively is a great tool for me. So again, something I think every single kind of manufacturing environment needs to have. Again, if you're not precise, if you're not working on the right things, your resources, your efforts can go down the drain, and nothing can be more depleting for a manufacturing environment. You're spending time, you're spending money, and you're not seeing any type of benefit. But when you're able to precisely take action, fix the things that are wrong, be able to drive improvement where you need to drive improvement, and all of a sudden you start to see profitability, you start seeing more production, you start to see less injuries, better quality, the overall health of the business starts to go up and get better as well. Yeah, so our total cost per cup has gone down. So again, what FactBird is able to help us is be able to identify the reasons that the lines are stopping, but it's also giving us live information on how well the line is performing. So if we see that that line is not performing at rate or at target, we're able to take immediate actions and be able to see if our actions help drive that case rate up. So again, it's something very good for us, because for us, cases is what drives our total cost. The more cases, it means lower cost for us. Lower cost means that we're more competitive. It means that we're able to be stronger at the market. That data, again, was previously lost. No one was using any of that data to be able to drive any actions for improvements. So now, again, now that we're recording that data, we're looking at the trends. We're looking at weekly, monthly trends. Based on where we're seeing any type of losses and trend losses, we're taking actions to be able to prevent the issue from hurting us again the following week or the following month. So again, having the information to say this is where you need to take action on becomes very important for us. In fact, we're able to give us that information. So it's just a sensor really tying it to the server, giving it power, and it's live.
That was a great example of going from manual production monitoring to using real-time collection of data, and that 20-point jump in OEE is quite impressive. I hope you enjoyed stepping back and looking at how OEE is used in reality. If you'd like to see more case studies on FactBird and OEE analysis, jump to our case studies page at factbird.com/case studies. And that's it for this lesson. See you in the next lesson, where we discuss how to improve OEE.